grief. You're doing so good. Okay. Let everyone know they're being recorded. I am so sorry about that, Neil. One more time. This time with feeling.
All right.
I'm so embarrassed. I'm so sorry. Okay. You ready, Jim?
I was born ready.
You look
I'm going to
relaxed.
die ready.
You look relaxed.
Well, anyways,
Neil,
back
we
at
got
it.
this. Back at it. Here we go. We'll do this one more time. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Today we have a really exciting guest. Mr. Neil Rogers is an author, speaker, and business leader with over 37 years of experience in marketing and sales. And I'd love to say that's more years than I've been alive. Just missed it. He is also the VP of Sales at Rogers Marketing and owner of Positive Activity. Love that name. And he is the author of Bar Tips, Everything I Needed to Know in Sales I Learned Behind the Bar. Now, being from Vegas, we are going to have a lot of questions for you about your experiences there. So please give a nice counterculture-wise welcome to Mr. Neil Rogers. Yay!
Hello, everybody. Thanks for that great introduction.
Sorry.
All right, Neil, let's start out by telling everybody how they can find you on the interwebs.
So the most direct way is on positiveactivity.net, and it's Neil, Neil, at positiveactivity.net. So you go to that site, you'll see our programs, our copies of little excerpts about the book, and then also a direct link to why not buy one.
Why not buy one? And we will have all of those links on counterculturewise.com, as well as this interview, both in video and audio formats, everywhere good podcasts can be found. So let's just jump right into it, Neil. Of course, I'm intrigued by how we made the leap from bartending to world-renowned speaker and author. So tell us a little bit about your journey.
Self-proclaimed, right? So, so it started out, kind of stumbled through college and had a couple of swings and misses. And but I knew and I was all the while working in the hospitality business while I was trying to figure it out. And I decided I wanted to be a bartender because I thought it was cool. That was the only criteria I had. The reason
That's
why.
where the babes are, right?
That's what it'd be cool, right?
Yeah.
And so I started working at a place called the Full Sail in White Horse Beach, part of Plymouth, Massachusetts. And I put down, so self-esteem's a little low after flunking out of community college. I mean, it's like, who does that? But I did. Matter of fact, twice.
Ouch.
So I went to, I got the bar job at this place, and I poured my first drink and put it down in front of somebody, and they took a sip out of it and they liked it. And I enjoyed the immediate feedback. I really kind of solved somebody's, issue. They wanted to have a drink or whatever it was. So there was a little bit of a Q&A. What are you having? What would you like? Let me take you down a path, right? And I just realized it gave me a boost of confidence to go, okay, I think I might have something here. But I also knew, at least over time, I didn't want it to be my life's work. I mean, not that I have anything against bartenders. They're some of my favorite people and still are. And so we stay in touch. I stay in touch with a lot of guys and gals that we worked with years ago. As a matter of fact, I married one. So, but trying to figure out what the next move was going to be, people would just say, Neil, with your interpersonal skills, I think you could be great in sales. Okay, maybe I'll give that a go. So now I still got to solve problem number one. I need the degree, right? So I developed a simple process to become a good student. There's a few things that they like. They like you to show up. Did you ever?
There is that. Yeah.
Imagine that.
Imagine the audacity of
them
wanting you
as
to
a
show
teacher,
up.
that is my number one directive is please at least show up.
Show up, ask questions, do the extra work. If there's office hours, go, make sure you go, give it a try. And so all these little things I was doing, and I became a 385 student.
There you go.
I mean, basically, it sounds like sales, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Active
Pretty much.
listening, taking notes, or trying to understand what the underlying theme is, or what he or she is talking about, what's going to be on the test, listening for that stuff to know what's going to be on there. And so yeah, so I wound up graduating. I was 25 when I finally graduated, but it was bits and pieces and a few classes here, a few classes there. And then I started right out in the world of sales, and basically I was bartending on the road. I just showed up. I was well presented. I had great organizational skills, all these types of things that I learned by being in the hospitality business. I knew how to greet people. I knew how to talk to people, and I knew how to dispute resolve. And I could really understand people. I mean, to this day, I can be in a restaurant or bar and know who the crazies are and who to stay away from. So it's like, you never forget those things. So yeah, so that's how it all started. And it just then, and when I thought back on it, this whole book thing was a COVID project. Lori and I had already started putting together the positive activity programs, but they, I just started piecing it together, and I thought about one of the things that set me on this direction was when my daughter was honored here I live in a golf community here in New Hampshire, and she was honored on campus from the chamber as being one of the hot people to look at under 30. The chamber, they've got an award for everything.
Yeah.
Right.
So the guy who brought Five Guys Burgers to New Hampshire was the keynote speaker.
Probably.
And I loved him. I mean, he was, I'm a nuts and bolts speaker. When I tell people I'm coming, there'll be no acronyms. We won't be diving into anything. There'll be no corporate speak. We talk plainly, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's what he
Smart.
was. And that's what he was. He was about that. And I was like, this guy's really intriguing. And he said his pre-meal. Did you guys ever work in hospitality?
Well, we're from
Yes.
Vegas, so
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
pretty much have to
Quite
know
a
what
bit,
you do.
actually.
I'm sure you know pre-meal. You're going to get the gang together and talk
Right.
about what's 86, what's the special, what's the wine of the night, or whatever it is.
Uh-huh.
And then there's typically some sort of rah-rah speech. Let's go get him, hey team, or something of that, whatever it is. And this guy's rah-rah speech was, we're not in the burger business. We're not in the fry business. We're not in the soda business. We're not in the shake business. We're in the hospitality business.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And I looked
exactly.
right to my wife and I went, I've never left the bar business.
Nope.
I've been bartending on the road for 30 some odd plus years.
I
And
love that.
And that's
I
how
love
the
that.
concept kind of came together. And that was kind of retrospect because that was 4 years earlier I had heard that speech, but it really, and everything just flowed from there. Just thinking about things, what made me successful in sales, what made me successful. I mean, did I learn that as a bartender? Yeah, I did. And that's why it's key,
Right.
But I mean, but they're all simple concepts.
Mm-hmm.
They're the breadth. So one of the ways into the talking about the book is I talk about breath, right?
Breath.
Why, it's so the most natural thing that you can do. But I'm a yoga guy, and
Mm-hmm.
all throughout the class, you know what the instructor is always telling you to do? Breathe.
Breathe. Yep.
Deep breathes, so the deep breaths or, and whatnot. And then there's different types of breath. So so it's kind of like the breath of sales. It's not, it's not AI and it's not some sort of technology, CRM wizardry.
Right.
It's golden rule stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, how do you want to be treated? When you're sitting there, and that's kind of how we do anything here. It's like, how would I want this deal to go?
Right.
I have a little thing I read, and it's, excuse me one second, I'll grab it real quick for you. In my journal, it's in here today. It might have got left in Plymouth. I think it did. But anyways, it's a little ditty that I picked up from Napoleon Hill in Think and Grow Rich. And the essence of it is, I'm not getting involved with anything where everybody doesn't win. It just doesn't make me feel. I don't want to. I want everybody to walk away going, well, okay, this really was a good deal.
Right.
We got whether it was the drink, whether it was the products we were selling, whatever. And that's kind of how I feel, because that's the way I want to be treated.
Right.
So and that's what feels best when you do a deal.
Yeah.
You do a deal and it's like, this, they got a good, this all worked out. And it's not even always about pricing or whatnot, but it's about value, right? Did you
Right.
give, did you
Well,
give them value?
bartending and sales are very similar in that if you don't look at your customer as a sucker or a rube, but you see them as a human being, and that's who gets the big tips in bartending when you make that personal connection. And when you want everybody to win in an exchange, whether you're selling vacuum cleaners or books in the back of the room after your speech, if you see everybody as a person, and I think we've lost a lot of that in today's society. And I'm sure, I think in one of your interviews, you said that this particular book was a COVID project.
Yes.
And I know a lot of us, because I also wrote a book about networking, a lot of us have lost the ability even to get into conversations with people. So as you were working on this book and you were facing probably a lot of isolation, how did you deal with that? How did you incorporate that into your book?
Oh, it was interesting. It wasn't easy for me. I mean, I know it wasn't easy for anybody, but when you thrive on the energy of other people, it was a real challenge.
Yeah, the
It was.
extroverts really got us. Introverts, we were like, this is great, this is fine, but extroverts really got hit. My sister is an extrovert, and man, was she hurting. She was so hurting because that's where all of her energy comes from. And yeah, it was pretty tough. So you powered on through this. So how did you compensate for that lack of human interaction?
I would reach out.
There you
one of
go.
the things that I do, pardon me, I guess I left my journal down. I have a place in Plymouth, Massachusetts. I must have left my journal there. One of the things I do is I have a daily reach out or random act of kindness.
I love
So,
that.
and if it's somebody, especially during COVID, I mean, everybody was feeling crappy, right? So
Yeah.
it's like you send them a text. I would send texts, right? I don't want to interrupt them. I don't want to get somebody when they're on the phone, when they're not prepared or not ready or doing something else.
Mhm.
I would send a text. How you doing? That's it. Invariably, I'd get a call back.
Oh, there you go.
And it's just like, so I did a lot of that by Thursday night. On Tuesday night, by Tuesday, my sister-in-law was contacting me. What's the menu for Saturday night? Because we would leave here, we go down. My sister, my brother and sister-in-law live right around the corner, down in Plymouth, and we would prepare a meal every week.
I love
just
that.
that thinking about it. What do we plan? All right, I'm going to make this sauce or whatever it is, and then I would leave here on Thursdays. I'd stop at a buddy's restaurant in Watertown, Mass. On my way down, I'd just have a salad with him and kind of give him some support. I'd buy something or whatnot, not spending a ton of money, but it was just the gesture.
Right,
And then
exactly.
Right.
and then I got down to Plymouth, and every Thursday night, this one bar restaurant downtown had music, and they said, "The heck with what was it, Charlie Baker? I'm having singers. We're gonna sing."
There you go. There
So
you
some places were saying you couldn't sing, because they didn't want the
Right.
projection of it. It was like,
yeah, and now we know that's all bunk, but
oh
yeah.
my God, yes. But anyway, so yeah, he
The things that people bought, yeah.
yeah. So that was and so when we go down there, one of my buddies, one of my old bartending buddies, he stayed with it. He was a bartender for 47 years, and he retired after COVID. He got out of daily bartending. He's still doing some function work, and so he would come down, and the last place he worked at was a union job, so he was getting unemployment, he was getting the bump, and he was painting my deck.
Well, there you go.
And while he was painting my deck,
he was taking advantage of everything. There you go.
I'd come out with the concepts of, with the book where, hey, Phil, what do you think about this one? Oh yeah, of course. So, and that's how we just went back and forth. And so I was getting confirmation on the fly.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, what would you say is your number one bar tip for the novice who thinks they want to get into sales, but isn't exactly sure where they should start?
Well, the number one, because the one thing that I want them in this too. So there's like two sides to that. It's as you get in, you need to be able to converse with people. So, however, I do things like when you go for a walk, when you're taking your dog for a walk or whatever, you say hello to everybody you meet. And don't expect everybody to say hello back to you, right? Just say, hey, good morning. How are you? How's the day going? Beautiful out, whatever the simple things are. The other things is to, I sit a lot. I always sit at a bar or my wife and I both, we're going out to dinner when we sit at the bar or at the counter. There's typically people who sit at bars and counters, unless they're alone, are up for talking and up for some socializing. So
even when they're alone, yeah, we've met the nicest people sitting at the bar.
Yeah,
waiting for our
I mean, how
table.
about the people you meet at the bar at the airport? It's like so.
Right.
But the thing to do now. Here's the trick. And this will be a downloadable thing from my website before long.
Awesome.
The trick is you want to practice actively listening. So that is, ask a question. Now, make sure they're engageable, right? We don't want to bother people, right?
Right.
But get them ask them a question. And they might be, so you're wearing a Notre Dame. Did you go to Notre Dame? No, my son did. Oh, really? What did he study there? Then sit back and listen.
Wide open, that you've got a full conversation going on.
Right.
Yeah.
Don't say a word. Do not resist with every fiber of your being to interrupt them, to talk over them, and please don't one-better them.
That's a tough one because people always want, especially when they start talking about their pains or their ailments or whatever. You always want to say, "Oh, you've got it bad." When you go into the
but this is the practice, right? We're trying to teach somebody something, right? So one of the guys that I worked with, and we're friends. We were friends before, and we're still friends. He had some classic lines, and this one came from his father. His father was an attorney in the Boston area, and he would tell his his clients, never avoid an opportunity to keep your mouth shut.
Amen.
Right?
2 ears, 1 mouth. 2 ears, 1 mouth. Yeah.
And you have to. I mean, it's a practice. It's not easy. You do want to contribute. I want to contribute. I want to tell you something, but hold on. At least for that period of time. Do it for 15, 20 minutes, whatever it is a day, or whatever you're thinking. Or just, when you go in any cashier or you've got some time, just ask her a question. Listen. So those are the things. So now you're warming up. And by the way, if they have never worked in the hospitality business, I would recommend working in the hospitality or a retail job or something where you've got people coming into you every day, the general public, and you've got to deal with them. They're going to have problems. I just recently mentored this young man. Never met him. I'm not even sure we were on a Zoom call. We just did phone calls. But I met his mother when I spoke at my brother's funeral. She goes, I was speaking about how I was mentoring this guy in Toastmasters that I'm involved with.
We're Toastmasters as well.
Oh yeah, isn't it great? Yeah. I mean, that's like, there's another thing. Go to Toastmasters.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. Go to Toastmasters. Oh, I don't know. Well, if you can't speak in front of in 14 people in the front of a room that are friendly, that are there to help you, you're gonna have a challenge standing in the boardroom trying to make something happen. So
it's nice to have a place where everybody has a shared goal. And that's rare these days. So I highly recommend Toastmasters. Absolutely.
So so those are the types of things that I would go right out of the gate. When you get going, I mean, obviously there's things in the book we talk about that they're all simple. So I really can't, it's hard to pick one because attitude, aptitude, and ability.
Like it.
Right. So I'm sorry, appearance, attitude, and ability. Right. I know different places are different ways in terms of dress. I get it. But at least be on the top of what's acceptable. Be clean, be, beard trimmed, or you're clean shaven. I tell my son this all the time. I tell my son this all the time, because he's a lot on air and whatnot. And I said, Cam, and I never see him do this, but I see some of these guys on TV and they haven't shaven. You know what? It may seem cool. It's not cool. I mean, I'm not when you're carrying a beard like you, Jim. I'm talking about, just your scruff. You got an 18, you got a 48-hour growth going. And I know
Right.
to some people it looks like, yeah.
It looks sloppy and unprofessional to 99% of the people to whom it should matter.
Yeah.
You know.
And I just listened to if I'm sensing us right here, I think we're in the same place here. I just listened to Megyn Kelly speak at it was a Turning Point conference to women.
Mm-hmm.
And she told them straight up, "Put a dress on. Put some makeup
nice.
on.
Yeah.
You know, they're just
Look like you
professional."
care.
It doesn't take much. We're not asking you to be a,
Right,
you know,
right.
Victoria's Secret model, but at least look like you respect yourself.
Right.
Because self-respect reflects out to those that you're talking to, and then they feel respect.
Mhm.
That's something I teach speaking, obviously, and it's something I'm constantly having to tell women in particular. And I don't know why this is a thing, but the upspeak and the vocal fry, it's like you sound like a little girl, and people are going to judge you accordingly. You might have something brilliant to say, but if you're talking like this and you end every
Yeah.
sentence like this, you know, people are just going to assume that you're not bright, and that's unfair to you, you know? So
Right.
learn how
Oh,
to
if
get
you get
past the
sing-songy, right?
yeah.
You
Yeah.
get the sing-songy thing going now.
Yeah, if you're a Baptist minister, that's one thing. But if you're trying to do something professionally or make friends, you know, a lot of times, because you and I, we were kind of, while we're getting everything set up, we were teasing each other back and forth a little bit. But you don't want to make fun of somebody that you don't know whether they can handle it. And it always has to be in a fun, mutually respected
Mhm.
way.
Mhm.
So he said something about the ba, and I was like, and we're teasing each other about accents. But there are some people.
My family comes from, on my dad's side, comes from Fall River. So I know all about packing a cab to get a
Oh,
cup
boy.
of coffee. So, yeah.
Did you ever go to a Packy? You know what a Packy is?
No.
No.
Packy is a package store where you get
Packy.
liquor,
Oh.
liquor and beer. But
That
it's a
sounds like
Packy.
something an Aussie would say. My brother lives in Australia, and they have brekkie, and
Right.
everything is truncated like that. It's hilarious. And my baby brother is the only person I know who can tell a joke with a Welshman, a Scot, and an Irishman and an Aussie, and can do all of the accents, and they're so completely distinct you can tell which is which. He's brilliant. He's got a great ear. But I don't recommend trying that.
Oh.
It's a very
It's a-
special
it-
skill only he has.
But
Yeah.
but this kid. So speaking of vocal, this kid that back to the kid that I was mentoring
Yeah, yeah.
after
Mhm.
after this
Right.
woman approached me. She says, "Do you mentor people for a living?" I said, "No. If somebody's got my story and wants to, you know, I've got some practical knowledge I can give to them." And this guy, when I first talked to him on Monday, it was like this. Yeah, I got a I got a I got a I got an interview at 12:30.
Ooh.
By Friday, when he was walking into
Sorry.
his real life interview,
Mhm.
it all changed. Picked up.
You got him that
Nice.
quick.
I got him quick. He got the job.
Nice. Nice.
And I
Outstanding.
talked to him on Thursday, and this was the final piece, because he got through the I had him check. I had him. I said, "Here's what I want in front of you. What do you know about the company?" "I don't know anything." Not much." "Okay." And it was more along like the not much. "Okay. Here's what. Let's go to the web." "Okay. It looks like software as a service or outsourced sales arm, something of that nature." Now, why don't you do it? You have ChatGPT? He goes, "Yeah." "All right. Do a workup on the company. Right. Just have it in front of you. Who's the CEO?" "All right. Greg Casale's the CEO. Let me see if I'm linked into him." "Yeah, I am. Once or twice. Once removed." "Too late for that. We're not going to get that. But let's have him in front of you too. Do a workup on him. And then I want a blank piece of paper. Now, I want you to get downstairs. I want you to get in the shower. I want you to shave. I want you to put on a crisp shirt if you've got one, but as nice a shirt as you can put on. Be dressed. Don't be in shorts. Don't be in. Just be ready to be professional." I said,
Isn't it sad we have to tell the youth of today to like put on clothing to go to an interview?
I mean, and these are all reminders. He might have done it on his own.
Yeah.
I don't know. But I mean, it's like, but these are the things that, these are the things that I can tell him that his father probably is already telling him, but he's not listening to him.
He won't listen to his dad. Yeah, that's
Right.
true.
So anyway, I said, "Well, you're an athlete." He goes, "Yeah." I said, "What sports did you play?" "Basketball and football." I said, "Great. Those are my sports too." I said, "Consider this a rep. You want this job. You want to have the option to say no. So
Mhm.
get competitive, get into it, right? And so he went through first phase. Second phase was to do a pitch over the phone or over Zoom, and the third phase was to go in and meet with the in-person interview. And I said, when I was talking to him before on Thursday, before the in-person interview on Friday, I said, tell me more about you. What did you do as a kid? What do you? So he goes, what'd you do for work? He goes, I worked at Friendly's. Now, Friendly's, for context, is an ice cream shop, but you
Oh.
can get a burger there. And I said, what did you do there? He goes, I was a server. Ah, you were a server. Marvelous.
Hospitality.
Now you're in
Yeah.
my wheelhouse. So
There you
now,
go.
somewhere along the line, the burger came out cold, the fries didn't show up, the shake wasn't done right, or so, and you had to resolve that. You served people, you greeted them, you sent them off, right? And he put that into his thing. I said, okay, now tomorrow I need you there 15 minutes early.
Mm-hmm.
And if you get there 25 minutes early, I want you to sit in your car. And by the way, put on your suit and whatnot. His mother went out and bought him a nice new suit. And I mean,
Oh,
Taylor,
good. Good, Mom.
she spared no expense. And then I said, if you can get there earlier than 15 minutes early, I want you to sit in your car and I want you to focus on your breath for 5 minutes. Just sit there and breathe.
Mm-hmm.
Breathe in and out. And then go in and walk in like the athlete you are, getting ready to take it on. So that's what he did. I assume he did all that. I don't know. I wasn't there, but he he texted me on Monday. Said I'm getting or that later on that day. Said I'm getting the offer on Monday. Cool.
Nice.
So I said did anything that we had to say, that we talked about help? Because yeah, a lot of it, and it was the recall of what experience he had in the hospitality business.
Yeah.
That he felt put him over the edge.
Nice.
So
I think people take for granted their early jobs where we really do learn life skills that we carry with us the rest of our lives. And I think people don't think about that. I mean, one of my very first jobs outside of babysitting was cleaning horse stalls for, back then it was Long Acres. Now it's what do they call it now? Green, the horse racing place in Washington.
Yeah, it's
Green something.
Green
Anyway,
something,
used to be called Long Acres. Anyways, I mucked out horse stalls, and here I am, 16-year-old kid with a pitchfork and a wheelbarrow, and it was hard work. But it taught me so much, because not only were you only getting paid so much per stall, but you had competition of other people to get there, and you had to work fast, and you had to also not step on toes, and those are all life skills. Emerald Downs, that's what it's called. Green was in there somewhere. Life skills that you carry for the rest of your life. So I'm not going to write a book about cleaning horse stalls, but I think bartending's a lot sexier. But the hospitality industry in Las Vegas is its bread and butter, and sadly, customer service is something that just got decimated during COVID.
We witnessed that firsthand. I won't go into great detail, but when we went back for a wedding, we went to a bar we'd always frequent to go to karaoke and to get good food and craft beer. And the service had plummeted to the point where we complained to the manager on the way out. We didn't even stay.
We were getting a drink.
Yeah.
We never got a drink. The guy
We were there
saw
for a
us,
good half hour before we gave
and
up.
the table next to us, he walked by and they finally waved him over and said, are you going to help these people? They've been sitting there for 45 minutes. And he was so angry that he ended up just saying, I'm not going to serve you. And it's like, we're just sitting there going,
Yeah.
okay. So yeah, we ended up leaving without getting anything at all. We didn't even sing. We had a song in and everything. We're like, yeah, we're getting out of there. So it's like, and it's like that everywhere. I mean, right now, if you try to call even my dentist, you get put on hold forever. And then eventually you just get a recording saying, oh, we don't have time to take your call. It's like this everywhere. It's like everybody is treating you like the government. How do we, as a society, how do we get past that? Because we need this personal interaction. And I don't care how much AI and robotics and whatnot, the human connection is never going to go away.
It is it's the marker of our long-term happiness and our longevity.
Yes.
True.
The
Very
breadth and
true.
the depths of our social relationships. You know, how
Amen.
so yeah. I mean, it's one of those things. I go to places that treat me well.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
I go to a breakfast. I took my buddy. My favorite breakfast place in Plymouth is this place called Will and Co. Will and Company.
Mm-hmm.
I go there because the waitresses are nice and the waiters are nice. And
Mhm.
I don't want to eat eggs every weekend, but I want to just go and chat with them, and but the back of the house people are not very friendly, but I
Okay.
don't care. The front of the house people are great, so that's what
That's where you need them. Yeah.
Mhm.
yeah. Yeah, and what I tell people is that that's the most fun you can have. When again, if you've got a symbiotic thing going with, a bartender has what, half hour to 45 minutes, maybe an hour to get a relationship with somebody.
Mm-hmm.
But when you get that, it's like, well, I'm making these people's day, and you know what? They're kind of making mine too. And so that's
Mhm.
what I call hospitality happiness. When that symbiotic,
Hospitality, happiness.
and that came to me, like we were down in the Villages in Florida visiting my mother-in-law, and we took her out to a steakhouse. And the
Mhm.
bartenders they were cool. They just sat, we sat on like the corner, you sit in the corner. So you have three people, and it's like a table, right? Everybody
Mhm.
gets to see each other and talk. And these guys were just on it, joking with my mother-in-law, checking her ID, this type of stuff. She's
Yeah.
80 some odd years old.
That's still
And
harder.
and then they made suggestions. I said, I don't eat a lot of red meat, but I do like a pork chop now. I guess, well, that's the one I get. Okay, that's the one I'm getting then. Because
Yeah.
now I've got this little trust thing going with them too,
Uh-huh.
right? So you're
Yep.
treating us nice, and so that's the next day. I wrote the final chapter, which is the symbiotic relationship between the server or the salesperson and the customer. You always feel good with, yeah, you want the order, but you want the
Sure.
order to be good and to be
Right.
right
Right.
and just.
Right.
Yes.
Of
Absolutely.
course.
Not too much, not too. Are you sure you need all that? Do you need? I think those are the types of things that I think develops relationships, because you're not loading them up. Just
Mhm.
trying to
Right.
get a big order or whatnot. And same thing with a waiter or a bartender. It's like, make the suggestion about dessert. Maybe tell them about the key lime pie, because it's your house favorite. Somebody bites, if they get one for the table or two for the table. Now,
Mhm.
everybody takes a little bite. That's what we, whenever we do that, we don't eat much in the way of sugar or sweets, but when we do it, we take a little piece, and
Yeah.
Right.
then you just walk away.
Same with us
Yeah, we're
typically.
sharers too.
Yeah.
That's the thing too that I think a lot of people in both hospitality and sales miss out on is people will be loyal if you treat them right. So you may make the big sale today, but if they don't leave feeling like it was a mutual benefit, that's just going to be the only sale. But you sell me a vacuum cleaner and I love what you sold me and I like the way you treated me. Even if that thing breaks in 2 years, I'm going to come find you.
Right.
We're
And I'm
going to
gonna
order any
buy my next one
accessories.
from
We're going to
you.
order the bags. We're going to
Right.
tell our friends about
Exactly.
what
And that's invaluable. I think people have lost that because
Yeah.
everything's so impersonal and we order from overseas and things come in our mailbox and we don't get that human interaction anymore. Do you think that's going to make a comeback? Do you think that
I
people?
think it in some ways it has. I mean,